for and has also worked with Speaker Babin before. Speaker Babin was once upon a time the longest serving member of parliament, and then had the opportunity to be nominated by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC to represent them as a candidate for the speakership. By the grace of God, as of that time, the NDC had 137 MPs. The MPP also had 137 MPs, with one independent who decided to work with them. When they went into the election, that is 4 years ago, Speaker Babin won overwhelmingly against the nomination by the outgoing president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, whose candidate was the former speaker, Speaker Mike Okoye. Now, the NDC in the last election won overwhelmingly with 57% for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and with 183 and still counting members of parliament on the ticket of the NDC, which is 2/3 of parliament. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has acknowledged the good work by Honorable Speaker Babin during these past 4 years. When we had a split parliament, what we call hung parliament, and we saw the heated debate, he was able to navigate with the help of his experience and his depth of knowledge when it comes to parliamentary affairs, and was able to hold parliament together. One experience that recently he exhibited was when some members of parliament on the ticket of the MPP, when they lost their primaries, decided to go as independent in the just ended election. It brought so much confusion. Speaker Babin decided to look at what the Constitution says when it comes to a certain member of parliament who decides to go into the next election or as an independent, not on the ticket of the political party that brought them into parliament. In this case, the NDC had one member going as independent, who later withdrew. The MPP also had 2 of its members. Note, when he applied the constitutional article that said that someone who comes into parliament on the ticket of a political party and decide to run as independent forfeits their seat. When Speaker Okoye applied it in the past 4 years, the MPP were happy. When Right Speaker Babin decided to apply the same rule, the MPP were not happy and took him to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that we should allow them to sit. Speaker Babin, avoiding the chaotic issue that may arise out of that ruling of the Supreme Court, decided to adjourn Parliament and recall Parliament after the elections. On the 16th of December, they went to Parliament. There was peace, and there has been peace till date. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, looking at the relationship he has with Speaker Babin, his experience and all that in holding Parliament together and Ghana as a whole, has decided to nominate him. Tonight, they will vote, and I know he will win handsomely to steer the affairs of Parliament in the 9th Parliament.
Now, Mr. Prof, how independent do you think Bagwin will be when he becomes Speaker of the 9th Parliament, especially when he is a member of the NDC and being nominated by the incoming president?
Thank you, my brother, for this question. Speaker Babin, personally, I have had the opportunity to be lectured and nurtured by Speaker Babin. And from that experience, he is a very fair-minded person and would do a good job, even though the NDC has this 2/3, and then him being a member of the party, and especially when he has been nominated by the incoming president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I can say for sure that he will be fair, and his judgment will be one that will not be colored by his political affiliation. He will do a good job. That I can predict.
The Speaker Bagwin had an issue with the Supreme Court's taking decision regarding legislative matters to the extent that he tried to set up a procedure that communication coming in the parliament should be directed to a specific committee, especially when they are in session, instead of, halting legislative processes through a citation from the court. Don't you think this conflict will continue when he, continues as Speaker?
We have three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. All of them, per the Constitution of Ghana, are independent. Even though their work sometimes are interlinked, they all do their works independently. So whatever happens in Parliament, even though some of them can find their way into the court, it should not override the rules and the Constitution. Any judgment that comes from our Supreme Court should not be seen as overriding that of Parliament, which also is independent and has its own rules when it comes to the House. Parliament is a master of its own game or rules. So I don't foresee that friction that happened in the past 3 months or 2 months coming up again and having any effect on what the work of Parliament under the leadership of Speaker Babin will be.
Okay. Now, so thank you. How may I address you, please? How may I describe you? As a member of the NDC or?
Yes, I am a proud member of the National Democratic Congress. In fact, in the past, I also attempted to go to Parliament on the ticket of the NDC. I was unsuccessful anyway, but we are hoping that in future, we will have a discussion on that when God permits.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Fry. It was good speaking with you, sir.
Always a pleasure.
All right.